we're seeing more and more of the rocks being kicked over in the government. Doge is kicking over all kinds of stones. The first one was USAID, and they're still freaking out about that. There's still a story going on about that, where you have all these people in front of the USAID building and they are protesting and they're talking about it's not your money, Elon, it's our money. Now they want to deport Elon Musk and all these other things. Whatever. Don't really care. They're going to do that. The fact is that both sides, the uniparty itself, loves USAID because everybody gets a piece of the pie. It is the buffet. It is the trough. You know, Mike Church has said that the $4 trillion trough that the uniparty sits at. That's it. USAID is the trough. It is the buffet. And that's why everybody's freaking out over it. But in the meantime, you have other things. You have the fact that you had a government, and it came up when Kash Patel, which, by the way, there's new stories out about Kash Patel, he dared to make money in the private sector and you know, not screwing over the American people, which is like the American way, right? Truth, justice, the American way, and screwing people over their money. And so, of course, they're like, oh, new financial record saying Kash Patel hasn't. So that's just one part. And the fact is, if you follow politics in any way, shape, or form, you saw the fact that the FBI, the DOJ, and in my case, as a gun guy, the ATF, but it's a different thing. The ATF is just weaponized overall. Hopefully, Trump and his team and Doge, they go after the ATF as hard as they're going after the FBI. But the FBI is turning over details of 5,000 employees who worked on the January 6th case to Trump's Justice Department as Agent Sue. It's a huge thing that's going on right now. And I had a tweet up, but of course I don't have it. So let's take a look. There's a statistic here. There is a statistic about the FBI and the amount of FBI agents that were working exclusively on January 6th. Now, I apologize for the language, but it does seem a bit important. This is from N Wokeness. The FBI revealed that 5,000 out of their 13,000 agents, 5,000 out of 13 were focused on just J6. 39% of the entire bureau. You know, and they say they go after the bad guys and they're America's law enforcement and America's thin red line and they're protecting you and me. 39% of the FBI was focused, was weaponized against grandma, was weaponized against people who were just walking in the building, people who were on the grounds, people who were saying stuff online. They were weaponized against their own citizens, right? These quote unquote public servants. They always like to call themselves public servants. These public servants were weaponized against their own people. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. The fact of the matter is, they were being targeted. And almost, I mean, you can go out on a limb, almost 50%, you're 11% up, almost 50% of the FBI was focused on J6ers. Not illegal, not criminal alien trespassers, not terrorists, not, you know, mass killers, none of these things. And of course, the FBI is not very happy about it. And I get it, because the deep state had hoped, and really the deep state had counted on Kamala Harris winning and the weaponization of the FBI through the DOJ, which it was Biden's DOJ before then. I mean, we say Biden because he was the guy in the chair, but it was really like Jill Biden and her merry band of chickens who were doing it, going after the American people. So 5,000 of them. So we have the FBI, and this is from CNN. CNN is actually reporting news now. It's kind of crazy. The Trump effect is real. The Trump effect is 100% real, because now you have CNN reporting. Now, ABC still, you know, it's the Disney company, so they're going to be the last ones to even try to pretend to be any way, shape, or form neutral. Jeff Bezos in the Washington Post, he's like, hey, we got to make some money, so try not to be so psychotic. CNN's like, we're trying to get people to use our website. Let's just try not to be a psychotic. So you have that here. So the FBI officials have complied with the demands to provide the Justice Department with details of thousands of employees who worked on investigations related to the January 6, 2021 incident at the U.S. Capitol. The demand has caused consternation, which is a nice big word that they're using, among FBI employees who fear it's meant to amass a list of personnel for possible termination. It's so funny. These people at the FBI are now worried that they're being targeted after they spent 4 years, and there's examples of it that were happening up until and a couple days past Trump's inauguration, targeting innocent Americans. Now, of course, there were people that did violent things, right? Not every person was an angel that was at the Capitol. It just is what it is. But the vast majority of people, not criminals, not violent. The lectern guy, famous guy, for walking he picked up a lectern and then he was persona non grata. Of course, it's supposed to be the people's house. Just like the White House is supposed to be the people's house. But now you can't even get on the street near the White House. The thing's all gated up and boarded up and protected. Maybe not now that Trump's there. I haven't heard about that. Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove, in a Friday memo with the subject line terminations, had given FBI officials a noon deadline of today to submit details of thousands of agents and analysts. Bove previously ordered the firing of 8 senior FBI officials, including those who oversaw cyber, national security, and criminal investigations. More than 5,000 employee details were submitted, including employee ID numbers, job titles, and their roles in the January 6 investigations, sources said, but not their names. There are more than 13,000 agents and 38,000 total FBI employees. Now we can scrub that down. Really, the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover's organization, shouldn't exist, right? Well, Rick, what happens if there's a situation where a federal law is broken? You have state marshals, you have state police. They can enforce those things at a state level. They can coordinate with interstate interstate pacts and agreements. They can handle this. You don't need a federal police force to do this kind of thing. Now, of course, most Americans will be like, oh, the FBI, they protect us. Of course, and that's because of propaganda. FBI TV shows. I am just as guilty. One of my favorite shows growing up, and I just watched the season of it that last weekend, is 24. Counterterrorism Unit, CTU, Jack Bauer. We all have it. We all have a favorite cop show. I bet you have a favorite cop show. You let me know in the comment section down below what your favorite cop show, your cop propaganda show is. Mine, 24. When I was growing up, when I was in my 20s, because I didn't have, I was broken. All we could afford was basic cable. What's on basic cable? TNT, TBS, USA. What was on USA every single night? Law and Order marathons, Law and Order SVU, Law and Order Criminal Intent, which Criminal Intent, by the way, that was my favorite one. All telling you that they're the good guys, the police are the good guys, and everything all things are bad. So now that's being used, years of propaganda working, the federal government working with Hollywood to get that idea, to get that feeling out to people, has worked, because there are people who don't follow the news and they think J6 was a riot, or they think that, the cops died on J6, even though none of them did. And that, Trump tried to take over the Capitol with the 101st Redneck Brigade. Like he said, you know what? I'm going to take over the government. Let me get a bunch of grandmas and fat old guys, and we're going to take it over. Like, he didn't use the military. If he was going to really do an insurrection, you think he would have called in the U.S. military and done it, instead of using like a bunch of fat MAGA fans? No one ever really want to talk about that. Meanwhile, office officials dispatched by Elon Musk have been seen at the FBI headquarters. A lot of people are happy about this because USAID was just the first. Remember, we haven't been in a full month of President Trump being in office, and you've already had one of the biggest things revealed in USAID and all the corruption and the waste and everything that happened there. Now we're going to the FBI. And of course, they're going to say secrecy, top secret, blah, 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 all this other kind of stuff. National security. It's a matter of national security. You can't see these documents. If you do, it's national security, man. You can't do that. Musk has headed up efforts by Trump and President Trump and the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, which we're going to talk about in the next segment, how they've been doxxed already. Funny how quickly they were doxxed. And yet people are like, good. You got fat guys like Tracy. I'll find his name for the next story. He's one of these, embedded old thinking reporters. He hates conservatives. He hates Trump. So he's like, good, get him doxxed. But I'll talk about that in a minute. Several FBI employees on Tuesday sued the Justice Department, accusing it of violating the Constitution and privacy laws by demanding that agents complete a survey allegedly designed to purge for our English-speaking friends or those who don't want to actually watch the closed captionings like I do, Bureau personnel. The agents want a federal judge to block Trump and the administration from publishing or releasing the survey of any information. You're a public servant, homie. You're a public servant. You take a pension and you take a paycheck as a government employee. When I was a teacher, my name and my salary had to be published by Dallas ISD. I think that's still true even to this day. I mean, you can find out the salary scale of any public school employee, any of them. But now the FBI is like, oh, well, it's not fair. It's not fair if they do that. You can't do when you were doxing people and you were breaking into homes and you were perp walking Roger Stone and you were breaking in and arresting Owen Schroeder and you were going after people, innocent people who had committed no crimes. I don't like Steve Bannon, but there's no reason to put him in jail. Guy didn't commit any crimes, but it's okay to perp walk your political opponents, which is what the FBI was doing under the direction of Joe Biden's DOJ and the government overall. But now that they are in danger of being released, oh, you can't do that. It's going to put me in danger. Oh, welcome to the club, Holmes. It should be from now on, if you work for the FBI outside of like being a special undercover agent or whatever, your name should be published. You work for the FBI, you do this is how much you make. There's no reason for it. There's no reason. Now they could have like we have, if there's undercover cops and stuff like that, and fine, whatever, make a blacklist, don't care. But the majority, 38,000, was it 13,000? They said 13,000 agents. There's no reason that the remainder of these 38,000 employees shouldn't have their name, rank, and salary displayed for everybody. You want to work for the government? You want to get that sweet, sweet pension? We got to know who you are. Oh, we can't. Shut up. Don't care. None of you are Jack Bauer, right? Maybe some of the 13,000. Most of the 13,000 agents, if you see them, they're fat, overweight, or women. Sorry. And in some case, all three. And so I hope their names are published. They should have their names published. Meanwhile, officials I read that. Quote, the very act of compiling lists of persons who worked on matters that upset Donald Trump is retaliatory in nature. How can anybody read this with a straight face if you've neutrally observed what has happened over the last 4 years? The DOJ has worked on things that upset the deep state. And they tried to make examples out of American citizens over and over and over again. And now they're saying, oh, well, that's not fair. intended to intimidate FBI agents, like FBI agents were trying to intimidate U.S. citizens and other personnel to discourage them from reporting any future malfeasance and by malfeasance and by Donald Trump and his agents. I don't think that's the right wording. I mean, I am stupid, but still, I don't think that's the right way it's supposed to be worded. The lawsuit alleges. So now the FBI, and this was with Kash Patel supposedly getting the votes to get through. Last time I checked, Tulsi is out of committee and they're going to vote on her, and RFK is out of committee and he's supposedly close to getting confirmed. I know Susan Collins is going to vote for at least RFK. But Kash, I don't know. Let me see what the status of old Kash Patel is as far as being confirmed. Kash Patel confirmation. Let's see. Nope, I don't want to see that. Let me see the latest. Nope. No, it looks like they're still holding his up. Shocking, right? Of course, this lawsuit is going to make it more difficult for people like Kash Patel to get confirmed because the deep state really is afraid after watching Doge and Trump, who should have been left alone. He should have been left alone to finish out his second term, but you guys wanted to raid Mar-a-Lago and go through Melania's underwear. This is the price you pay for it. That's it. This is simply the price you pay. So good. My opinion of Rick Cass, publish every single name. Publish all 5,000. If they wanted to go after grandma, if they wanted to go after U.S. citizens, when they swore to protect U.S. citizens, right? You get into the FBI so you can protect them against the criminals and the bad guys. And all of a sudden they're breaking down Roger Stone's door in full tack gear at like in the wee hours of the morning and perp walking him and his wife. Yeah, that's the guy you signed up to go get? Okay. But that's our first story of the night. As you can see, I'm fired up about it. I'm kind of fired up overall. Maybe it's these knickknacks that I'm taking. No, these things are great, dude. I love these things. You ever had these? Check them out. Knickknacks. They're nicotine lozenges. So good. So good. The grapefruit, love it. But that's not an endorsement. If Knickknack wants to sponsor the program, I'd be all for it. But that's our first story of the night.